Greetings everybody and welcome to Madrid Ball. I hope you all are doing great. Today in this video we will do the post-match analysis of Eibar versus Real Madrid. We will break down the performance of the players and make a more detailed analysis of the happenings of the game. So let's get started. First, let's have a look at the starting lineup. We had Courtois, Ramos, Varane, Carvajal and Mendy. Then we had Kroos, Casemiro and Modric. And in attack, we had Rodrigo, Benzema and Vasquez. Before we go into the analysis, let's do the shout out for the correct predictions. 3 of you predicted the correct scoreline. Playboy Prince, RT Hype and Apala had predicted 3-1 in favor of Real Madrid. And they got it absolutely correct. Shout out to the 3 of you for the correct predictions. Moving on, when we saw this lineup, it was quite evident that the anticipated changes didn't happen. We didn't do much rotations and it was the same core of players who had given us good results in the past few games. So clearly Zidane there not taking any risk. He wants to finish this year on a high and he is doing it with the group of players whom he trusts the most. Now talking about the performance, I thought it was a thoroughly entertaining match from a neutral perspective. And we saw 2 different styles in 2 halves. In the first half it was end-to-end stuff. It was a roller coaster ride. Both the teams were creating chances but Real Madrid obviously had the edge. The way Real Madrid had started the first 20 minutes, it was total football. It was 100% one of the best starts that we have had this season, if not the best. Eibar were pressing high, they were very energetic, but Real Madrid were just sublime. Eibar were pressing man to man, but the individual quality of our players was just too good in the first 20 minutes. There were 2 ways in which Real Madrid dealt with the pressure. One, they themselves maintained high intensity in order to match the high intensity of Eibar. They passed the ball quickly, making those crisp and precise passes, and then they were passing the ball in triangles to counter the press. We did see, especially on that right-hand side, Modric, Vasquez and Carvajal were combining very well. And Modric, I thought he was just sublime in the first half. There was a moment around the 8th minute where Modric got the ball in his own half, and then while taking the ball forward in transition, he took out the Eibar man with just a dip of the shoulder. He didn't even need to touch the ball as he sidestepped the Eibar man, and these are the magical parts that go under the radar. Obviously, when the goals are scored, the goal scorer takes all the headlines, but this elite level of playmaking, going past the opponent in an effortless way, these things truly make you fall in love with the game. It was another great showing from Modric, and it's truly a delight to watch this midfield maestro. We are actually seeing the prime of Modric once again. Coming back to the second way in which Real Madrid countered the press, it was the long balls. We had seen Kroos, Ramos using these long balls to switch play, and that was very evident in the play where Kroos picked out Benzema making a run behind the defense, and Benzema came up with a finish of the highest quality. The goal was ruled out because Benzema was found offside. But what do we say about Benzema? He showed once again what a class act he is. Yesterday he came up with a man of the match performance, and he was all over the pitch. He was playing central at times, sometimes on the left, sometimes on the right. Sometimes he was dropping deep to give Real an extra passing option in the midfield to counter the press. He was involved in the link-up play, he was finishing chances like a sheer centre forward. And what else can you possibly expect from Benzema? He was involved in all the 3 goals of Real Madrid. He got 2 assists, 1 goal, created 2 chances, made 3 key passes. And just have a look at the heat map here. He was all over the place. The first goal that we got in the 5th minute, it was a brilliant bit of play between Modric, Rodrigo and Benzema. In that sequence of play, Modric passes the ball to Rodrigo and then he runs forward to grab the attention of the defender. This subsequently led to Benzema finding more space inside the box, and Rodrigo just put in a delightful cross which Benzema controlled, and then he put the ball at the back of the net. The role of these 3 players, Modric, Rodrigo and Benzema, was very important in that opening goal. The second goal was a result of a combination of some good pressing by Real Madrid and some poor defending by Eibar man. Vasquez and Benzema pressed well to win the ball on the right side of attack. Benzema skips past his man, makes a run inside the penalty box. He spots Modric completely free, lays off the ball for him, and Modric took a powerful shot extending the lead of Real Madrid. Coming back to Benzema, he could have easily had a hat-trick on the night. He had a chance in the 16th minute. In the build-up, a number of Real Madrid players were involved. They were passing the ball with panache amongst themselves, and then Modric made a beautiful cross for Benzema, which he should have scored. It was easier to score than to miss from that header. But overall, Real Madrid were displaying some top-quality football in the first 20 to 25 minutes of the game. We must give credit to Eibar though. Right from the get-go, they kept pressing, and after the period of dominance by Real Madrid, there were phases in the latter stages of the first half where Real was struggling to cope up with the press of Eibar. Casemiro and Varane, they made a few errors in that phase of the game, and the goal that Eibar got, it started with Vasquez losing out the ball in his own half. I think none of us were expecting Kike to come up with that great a finish. It was a wonder goal. No keeper in the world could have stopped it. It had the right amount of power, right amount of precision. The curl that it had was just enough to get it beyond Courtois and into the top corner. and Courtois is a really tall guy. When you see that he looked so helpless in preventing the goal, you can understand how great a strike that must have been. The second half, I thought it was contrasting to the first half. The first half was action-packed, we saw end-to-end stuff. But in the second half, both the teams started in a more conservative manner. Real were looking to control the tempo of the game and Eibar were not that aggressive with their press. Probably the idea must have been to keep the scoreline at 2-1 as long as possible, try and get a goal towards the latter stages, steal a point away from the game, and they almost managed to do that. There was the penalty appeal on Ramos, adding controversy to the game. I must say, when I first saw the replay, my initial reaction was that it was going to be given as a penalty. And obviously the heart of a Madridista keeps praying otherwise, but I felt it so easily could have been given as a penalty. The ball had hit the elbow of Ramos and we have seen instances like these in the past given as penalties, and that is why I thought that it was a big let-off for Real Madrid. Ramos, I thought, didn't have the sufficient time to react, and luckily for us, the penalty was not given. And you can see Real Madrid getting a lot of stick for that decision, but we are not the ones to blame. It's the handball rule that is to blame. So if you are to blame anyone, blame the law. And definitely the lawmakers should make a proper assessment of the handball rule. We have been talking about this for years, but only God knows when we are going to get clarity on that handball rule. That was also not the last significant action that Ramos was a part of. In the final minutes of the game, just before the goal of Vasquez, there was a chance for Eibar in injury time. Pedro Bigas had received a cross in space. Varane was out of the picture and then Ramos had to make a sliding tackle to cut out the danger. That was a very big challenge from Ramos, which ensured the 3 points for Real Madrid. In the previous game, it was Courtois. This time, it was Ramos. I thought the only person who looked like a weak link in our defense was Rafael Varane. He had a very poor game and he has had a pretty inconsistent season up till now. He does have a run of games where he looks solid, but then again, he will have that odd game where he looks completely out of sorts. So that is one issue that we have to take care of. We need to see more focus and concentration from Rafael Varane. In the post-match press conference, Zidane was asked if he was concerned about the way Real were close to drawing in the last 2 matches. He said, "I'm not worried. That's called football. There's an opponent who will have their good moments. These are teams that never give up the play from the first minute to the last. We have to suffer and try to control the game. We are happy for the win and we have kept up this good form. Now it's time to rest well and think about the next game." On lack of rotation, Zidane says there will be rotations for sure in the future because we have a long and difficult season ahead. It's true we are rotating a little less right now, but we will be counting on everyone. It's a specific thing for this moment. On Benzema, Zidane was asked if he is as important as Cristiano was in his first spell at Real Madrid. Zidane replied, "He's decisive, he's playing phenomenally well. It's not just about the goals. I always say the same about Karim. He brings overall play, he's very important for our team. But we also need to consider the work that everyone did. It was a great game and you need 2 teams for it to be a great game. And Eibar had their good moments. Overall, we deserve the win though." Lastly, he was asked about the handball incident, to which he said, "I didn't see it. In the end, the referee is the one who decides. As always, I don't get involved in refereeing issues. If he didn't blow for it, then it's because he didn't think it was handball." Now coming to the concluding remarks, it was another tight game for Real Madrid. The way we started the game, we came out with the guns blazing, and the way Real Madrid scored those early 2 goals, you must have thought Real would go on to score 4 or 5 goals because Eibar were not sitting back. There were spaces to exploit, but we couldn't take advantage of that. In defense of Real, it has to be said that Eibar showed great amount of character and courage to not let their heads drop, and they tried to get the goal in pursuit of the equalizer. So thumbs up to Eibar for their fighting spirit, and I was particularly impressed with Bryan Gil. He's a loanee from Sevilla and he was a handful for both Carvajal and Vasquez. We got the 3 points in the bag and now we must move on to the next game. And that is all I have in this post-match analysis. Now I would like to know, what did you make of yesterday's game? Were you entertained as well? And which player impressed you the most? Write in the comments below. I will see you soon. Till then, take care. Glory to Madrid. And as always, Hala Madrid.